What's up folks, Crush SG here with part 3 to my Noelle guide. Today we're going to take a closer look at building a team around Noelle as the primary DPS. I didn't originally intend for this guide to have this many parts, but looking at the response I'm getting from parts 1 and 2, I think I'm probably going to turn this into a series and do deep dives into each aspect of building Noelle, with part 1 sort of being a TLDR to the whole series. I am indeed figuring out a lot of this as I go. I do not have and have not played every single character available right now. Most of my information is based on personal experience just from maining Noelle, and a lot of it is personal preference and anecdotal. There are just not many good sources of information on a DPS Noelle out there because not many folks run her as a primary DPS. Alright, moving along. So what are the key points when building a party around Noelle? Probably the biggest key point is that Noelle absolutely needs all the help she can get to keep her burst up as much as possible to maximize her DPS. Don't be fooled into thinking that C6 alone, if you have a C6 Noelle, will get you anywhere near 100% uptime on her burst. Whether you are C0 or C6, building full defense or full attack, you are going to need to support Noelle in a way that increases her burst uptime as much as possible. You can do this a few ways. First, you can have a second Geo character in your party. Having another character with the same element as your main DPS helps a lot with energy regeneration because they generate the same particles, which recovers energy very quickly. Now this may or may not be practical depending on the content that you are currently doing and which heroes you have available to you. As an example, some floors in the Abyss are significantly easier if you have certain elements in each of your teams, and doing so might prevent you from having two Geo characters on one team. Second, you can have a Regen support character on your team by equipping one of your supports with the Exile set and prioritizing energy recharge on substats as well as the timepiece artifact. The Exile set recovers 6 energy over the course of 6 seconds every time said character uses their burst ability, and this effect does not stack across multiple set users, so one set is enough. 6 energy might not sound like a lot, but if you put this set on the right character, usually one with a low requirement burst, for example, like Bennett, Zhongyun, or I guess in American Chongyun, Amber, etc., the energy regen does add up over time. Additionally, like point 1, you could consider having a second character with the same element as your regen character, such as having 2 pyros, and this not only provides the associated elemental resonance, but it also allows your regen support to burst much more often, further capitalizing on the Exile set bonus. Third, you can choose support characters that have multi-hit abilities or abilities that persist off-field. Some characters such as Fischl and Xiangling, to name a couple, have E abilities that persist while they are off-field, and abilities like these tend to generate more energy over time than single hit abilities, allowing you to consistently generate additional energy while Noelle is on the field DPSing. Lastly, you need to use your entire team's skills as often as possible. Noelle's burst is convenient for this because it persists even when she is off-field, allowing you to essentially swap to other characters mid-burst to use their abilities and then swap back to Noelle to continue DPSing in her burst. Now this may sound counterintuitive to some because you'd naturally want to stay on Noelle during her entire burst to maximize DPS, but using your team's skills on cooldown strategically will actually result in a significant increase to overall uptime on Noelle's burst throughout the fight, resulting in more DPS over the course of the fight. The next key point in any team would be general support. We've already talked about regen, so this leaves us with buff support and DPS support. Buff support comes in 2 forms, either artifact-based buffs or character-based buffs. I do not know what characters you have available to you, so I will use my team as an example because I run both forms on my Noelle team. I have Bennett as my character buff support and either Ningguang or Zhongyun as my artifact support, depending on whether I need a cryo on the team or not. Bennett provides an attack buff based on his base attack value whenever he uses his burst, and I use the Noblesse Oblige set for an additional attack buff when they use their respective bursts. Some folks use the Oblige set on Bennett to double down on his attack buff, but I prefer to have two sources of attack buffs for more consistency rather than just one big Bennett buff. If you do go the big buff route, you could consider something like the Instructor set on the other support character for an EM boost. Now, DPS support likewise comes in two forms: direct DPS or reaction DPS. Now, I covered this a little in part 1. Because Noelle is a Geo character, if you run reaction supports on your team, you need to ensure that your team can set off reactions among themselves, because Noelle can only produce crystallize. A good combination for reaction DPS is Fischl and Xiangling, because both of them have skills that persist when they are off field. You can also consider running Fischl with a cryo such as Chi-Chi or Chongyun or Kea for superconduct if you don't have a C6 Noelle, because you'll be spending half the time outside of a burst dealing physical damage. Now, I personally run Fischl on my team and have her set up purely for direct DPS, with the 2-piece lightning and 2-piece gamblers gearing her for electro damage, attack percent, crit and crit damage with the stringless bow. Fischl is probably one of the best support characters in general, because she can be used to provide all avenues of support, be it direct DPS, energy regen, or reaction DPS such as overload, electrocharge, and superconduct. Now, to wrap things up, no matter what characters you have, always prioritize the elemental needs of the content that you're doing first, followed by providing energy regen support for Noelle, followed lastly by providing either buff support, DPS support, or both. And that brings us to the end of today's video, folks. As always, if you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If not, a thumbs down works too. And share my videos with your friends. I'll catch you guys later. Take care, guys.